So in a recent interview, Attorney General Bill Barr attacks science, he attacks the Black Lives Matter movement, and he attacks his own career prosecutors. Let's talk about that, because putting the justice back into the Department of Justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So Attorney General Bill Barr becomes more like Donald Trump every day. In an interview he just gave, which was really more Saturday Night Live skit than it was a conversation with an actual Attorney General, he attacked science, he attacked and belittled and demeaned the Black Lives Movement, and he attacked the career prosecutors at the Department of Justice. You know, the people he's supposed to lead. Let's start with science. Bill Barr attacks the public health advice that is being given by some of our nation's preeminent medical experts. This from some reporting in the Washington Post. Quote, Bill Barr says, "A doctor is not a grand seer who can set societal policy. All this nonsense about how something is dictated by science is nonsense." Close quote. Well put, Dr. Bill Barr. Folks, that is not something I plucked out of The Onion, you know, the satirical publication. These are actual Bill Barr quotes. After he's done denying science, he moves on to disrespecting, berating, belittling the Black Lives Matter movement and the people who are killed by police in excessive force incidents. Are you ready for this one? Bill Barr says, quote, or the article says, quote, "Barr also attacked the Black Lives Matter movement, saying they're not interested in black lives. They're interested in props. A small number of blacks who are killed by police during conflicts with police, usually less than a dozen a year, who they can use as props to achieve a much broader political agenda." Close quote. By the way, a Washington Post tracker found that 250 black Americans were killed by police officers last year. Bill Barr downplays it 20-fold, less than a dozen. Folks, this quote alone, this single quote, should drive to the polls on November 3rd anybody who cares about racial equality, who cares about police reform, and who wants to remove a prejudiced, bigoted, callous Attorney General. This quote alone. He basically mocks the Black Lives Matter movement and those who are killed in excessive force incidents. But he's not done, because then he moves on to berating the career prosecutors at the Department of Justice. Bill Barr rails against the prosecutors who would rather resign from cases than do Bill Barr's dirty bidding. Not just the prosecutors, the teams of prosecutors, the multiple teams of prosecutors who resign from cases, who walk off cases rather than doing the wrong thing. Bill Barr likens them to, you ready for this? Preschoolers. Here's what Barr says about that. He says, letting the career prosecutors, or as he dismissively refers to them, the most junior members of the Department of Justice, letting them set the agenda might be a good philosophy for a Montessori preschool, but it's no way to run a federal agency. That's Bill Barr berating, demeaning, belittling the the very prosecutors he's supposed to be supervising. Talk more about that in a minute. Because then, in the interview, Bill Barr goes full Richard Nixon on us. In an apparent reference to the criticism that he has received for doing favors, though, for the president's corrupt associates like Mike Flynn and Roger Stone, here's what Bill Barr says. He insists that he has absolute authority to overrule career prosecutors. And he says, quote, "What exactly am I interfering with? Under the law, all prosecutorial power is invested in the Attorney General," close quote. First of all, I think he meant vested, not invested, but, with Bill Barr, maybe he's invested, maybe it was a Freudian slip, don't know. But he says, under the law, all prosecutorial power is invested in the Attorney General. In other words, if the Attorney General does it, it isn't illegal. Folks, who is Bill Barr? I may have missed it in his bio, but I don't believe he has prosecuted a single solitary case in his life, not so much as a traffic ticket. Now, you don't have to be a prosecutor to supervise all of the country's prosecutors. You don't have to be a former prosecutor to serve as Attorney General. But it kind of makes you think, does he know whereof he speaks? Does he understand that prosecutors have an ethical responsibility to, obey the rule of law, to serve the American people with integrity? Does Bill Barr not understand that if a supervisor orders us to do something that is unethical or illegal or improperly prejudicial to the rights of a defendant, we are obliged, we are duty-bound to refuse to do it and resign from a case? Bill Barr doesn't seem to understand that principle. Maybe we can forgive him because he's never prosecuted a case. And there's a closely associated principle to the responsibility of a prosecutor not to do the wrong thing if directed to by his or her supervisor. And it has to do with military service. And I may have missed it in Bill Barr's bio, but I don't think he spent 1 minute in the military, serving his country, donning a uniform, dedicating himself to something bigger than money or power. There's a principle in the military. I served 6.5 years on active duty before becoming a civilian federal prosecutor in the Department of Justice. And this is perhaps the single most important military principle that we, service members, are taught. You must obey a lawful order, but even more importantly, you must disobey an unlawful order. Maybe Bill Barr doesn't seem to understand that. And it's a principle that is very closely associated with the principle that a prosecutor must not carry out an unlawful directive from a supervisor. Bill Barr. And these prosecutors, teams and teams of prosecutors, career prosecutors, honorable, ethical prosecutors, people who take their oaths of office seriously, resign from cases rather than do Bill Barr's dirty bidding. Plain and simple, that's what's going on here. And Bill Barr can't stand it. And that's why he lashes out at the career prosecutors at the Department of Justice, the people who actually prosecute cases. He also lashes out now at science and denies science. He lashes out at Black Lives Matters because, less than a dozen blacks, as he puts it, are killed by police every year. It's more like 250. He downplays it 20-fold. Folks, if these reasons aren't enough to drive everybody to the polls in numbers too big to rig, I don't know what is. But I do know our country cannot suffer Bill Barr, or worse, the tandem combination of a lawless, corrupt president, Donald Trump, and his lawless, corrupt enabler, Bill Barr, for another 4 years. We'll be lucky if we can survive it another 4 months. But that's okay, because the 2018 midterm results, with 41 houses flipping to the Democrats in the House of Representatives, that was nothing. That was nothing compared to what we are about to see come November 3rd. Oh, it's going to be bumpy. Hold on tight, because Donald Trump and Bill Barr are doing everything they can, including saying you ought to go out and vote twice. Citizens, vote twice for Donald Trump. And Bill Barr, Attorney General for the United States, says that might be okay. I can't say that's illegal. Every sixth grader can say that's illegal. It's going to be okay, folks, because we're going to vote in numbers too big to rig, and then justice will come. And justice matters. It matters. Please stay safe, folks. I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.